West African-born couple have been found guilty of torturing and murdering a 15-year-old boy in a trial bedeviled by witchcraft, possession and exorcism. Kristy Bamu was killed by his sister and her partner in their attempts, they said, to protect another child from evil spirits. Sentencing the pair to life imprisonment, the judge at the Old Bailey said the case had been so harrowing the jury would be exempted from any further service for the rest of their lives. This report from our Home Affairs correspondent Simon Israel does contain some distressing detail.
Pierre Bamu is the bereaved father. He spends most days in his Paris furniture workshop, which he had hoped his son Kristy would take over one day. His attention is focused away from the unimaginable horrors that led to his son's death during what should have been a family Christmas holiday in London in 2010. At home in Paris, he must be strong. Strong for his wife Jacqueline and for his surviving children.
Mais bon, tout en sachant que tout être humain que nous sommes, nous finirons tous par mourir un jour, mais j'aurais bien souhaité que je meure avant Kristy.
Kristy was just 15 years old. He was quite simply brutalized by his own sister and her partner in their belief he was a witch and possessed. Monsieur Bamu's workshop overlooks this cemetery. This is where he buried his son Kristy. Hundreds of people turned up to the funeral. The family are very popular in this community, and yet they became engulfed in such horror, brought about by rituals and a culture they had long left behind and rejected. This photo is of happier times. This is Kristy. Behind on either side are his brothers and sisters. And in the middle is Magalie, the one in London, the one they went to stay with, the one who would later accuse the others of witchcraft, and the one who would help to kill her younger brother. The flat where they were all staying was on the 8th floor of this tower block in East London. Over 5 days running up to Christmas, it became a torture chamber. The mood turned menacing. Magalie and her partner, Eric Bikubi, became convinced her brother Kristy was possessed after he'd wet his pants. They subjected him to unbelievable cruelty, and they forced his brother and sisters to do the same, for they too were accused of sorcery. As police later gathered evidence within the flat, they found, beside a blood-stained mop, a metal bar. There was a plank of wood, a block of knives, a hammer, a pair of pliers, and a black bag of broken ceramic tiles smeared with blood. Kristy was so badly beaten and so weak he even asked to die. He later drowned during an act of exorcism in the bathroom on Christmas morning. 130 injuries had been inflicted on his body, and all done to protect another child in the flat from a malicious force known in Congolese life as Kindoki.
J'avais une douleur au cœur ces jours-là que je ne peux pas expliquer, cette douleur. J'ai mis 1 semaine et demie avant de commencer à me réalimenter. Je pensais que mes enfants étaient à l'abri de ce genre de choses. Mais malheureusement, on ne peut pas tout contrôler dans la vie.
The horrors that were unfolding appeared to be beyond anyone's control in Paris. The parents began to get calls from the flat in London, urging them to come and collect their bewitched children. As the situation grew more and more desperate in the flat in Newham, so did the number of calls to Mr. and Mrs. Bamu in Paris. From just after midnight on Christmas Day, there were 45 in just 7 hours. Mr. Bamu answered many of them, but there was just silence at the other end. Then came the ultimatum from Bikubi on Christmas morning. Come and collect Kristy, or I will kill him. Still in disbelief, the parents tried to find a way. But Paris was grounded, both by snow and by holidays. Car hire companies were shut, planes weren't flying, and trains weren't running. By Christmas evening, they were still in Paris, and their son was dead.
La mort de Kristy, elle m'est passée à travers les doigts comme ça. C'est comme un fumeur qui tire un bouffée de la fumée, et puis il lance la bouffée de la fumée en haut, et puis la fumée qui disparaît comme ça. Voilà comment Kristy est partie, comme ça.
Mr. Bamu has lost 2 of his children, Kristy and now Magalie, to prison, and the others are still suffering. The notion of witchcraft has come to haunt this family. Mr. and Mrs. Bamu, in their evidence in the trial, said they knew it existed, but didn't believe it, and neither did their children.
Quelqu'un qui devait aller en Angleterre, passer des fêtes, des nouvel an à tout le monde, l'autre, il décide de les tuer. Et il me revient ici dans une boîte. C'est traumatisant pour moi en tant que parent, ma femme et moi. Et même les autres enfants qui ont assisté à ça. C'est traumatisant. Je ne sais pas où on vit, nous sommes sur la Terre ou nous sommes sur Mars pour vivre des choses comme ça.
He blames Eric Bikubi, his eldest daughter's partner. He believes the football coach manipulated Magalie with fearful notions of sorcery and possession, a well-hidden dark side.
Eric avait notre confiance. Il avait notre confiance. Donc, ma fille Magalie me l'a présenté. Donc, pour rendre l'ascenseur à ma fille, j'accepte Eric qu'il rentre dans notre famille. Mais malheureusement, il nous a amené la mort. Et ça, c'est dommage.
Eric Bikubi and Magalie Bamu brought more than shame. Rites of religion have been conjured up to justify violent acts, but police inquiries found nothing in the UK which might have encouraged that.
I think it will remain a mystery. We looked at various lines of inquiries but found absolutely no evidence in relation to links to churches or anything like that.
Mr. Bamu says he's compelled to grieve alone so as not to distress even further the other children. No one came to London for the verdict. His daughter and the man they treated as a son will be sentenced on Monday.